I'm Ashton Addison from BlockWest Capital for InvestmentPitch Media and the Crypto Coin Show. And today on Blockchain Interviews, we have Kadan Stadelmann, the CTO of Komodo, back on the show once again. Welcome back, Kadan. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Hi, Ashton. Hey, thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Let's dive straight into Komodo. Your team has been working on so much since we last spoke. Feels like years now, which is like decades in cryptocurrency. And I've seen that there's a lot of updates from the protocol. One of the things I want to focus on is the AtomicDEX and some of those updates. But before we get to that, I'd love for you to just give a little bit of background information on Komodo, what makes it such a unique protocol, and why you're so passionate about working on it.
So thanks. Yeah, I mean, Komodo is a blockchain open source technology provider. We do provide like a variety of different open source technologies, mainly targeting blockchain interoperability and blockchain into support. So our technology supports like the majority of the existing like blockchain protocols. And I mean, since we last met, I mean, our focus really remained the same, right? We pretty much like kept working on AtomicDEX. I had one huge iteration. The technology is out now in regards like to end user products. We do have like a mobile as well as like a desktop application out. And I'll also like tell you a bit about our next like bigger iteration where we're basically shifting the entire technology towards like the Web 3.0 support. So we're already natively supporting the web environment. And yeah, so here we are again. And yeah, really glad to be here on the show.
Great. Thank you for that background information. And yeah, last time you were here, we were speaking about the AtomicDEX, still working on it years later, generations later. I think last time we spoke, it was in the beta. I'd love for you to just give an overview for those people who, they trade, maybe they hold Bitcoin, maybe they trade on a centralized exchange, maybe they've used a DEX, but they probably haven't used the AtomicDEX. Maybe talk about what makes the AtomicDEX so special at the start.
So just speaking in general, I mean, the AtomicDEX is a third generation cross-atomic chain and cross-atomic protocol decentralized exchange. It means it provides like an open source and permissionless peer-to-peer network and technology layer for trustless cryptocurrency exchange, okay? So, I mean, right now we're speaking about cryptocurrencies, so tokens and coins that I could, for example, exchange with you or any other like third party without any intermediary in between, okay? So that's, I think, like the main point about the AtomicDEX and this technology and its core functionality. But I mean, this is going like a step further now, right? So I mean, we're reaching like an era where this technology will also support the exchange of data, right? Look at NFTs, just like for one example, right? And I mean, technically, really, you could like exchange anything, even like knowledge with this type of technology. And again, yeah, it is now like a third generation technology, and by shifting like purely to the web environment, we make sure that we basically provide the technology to any operating system, any platform, right? As much as it's like permissionless from just like an access perspective, we thought it should also like be, permissionless and, widely interoperable with all the available platforms and operating system and user devices.
Definitely. And right now, I saw it's in the testing platform. Does that mean that anybody can go and start using it and testing it, or is it just in the beta of testing, and are there rewards for that, or how does that work?
I mean, while it's an ongoing beta phase, it's been like tagged stable beta. So the application's been around like for quite some while. We had a closed beta and we've now like shifted to a totally open beta. So anyone could join like this program. I mean, technically it is like production ready. We haven't had like, additional like third party validations ongoing, but these are like steps that are like taking place right now as we speak. And yes, just like to answer the question, like anyone can like feel free to download the application, to use it as a wallet, but as well as like as a DEX gateway.
That's great. And from what I understand with the AtomicDEX, one of the main advantages is having the multi-chain, as opposed to Uniswap just moving in ERC20 tokens back and forth. You're able to move to different blockchains. Now, is that true? Are they all set up to all of the blockchains, or are there limitations? And what's the main functionality within moving Bitcoin to Ethereum to maybe some smaller blockchains?
I think this is like different benefits. One of them is, of course, giving like traders and users the ability to move native chains, native coins, interoperability-wise, like across different protocols and chains, right? But furthermore, it basically provides also like a bridging solution. We have like different coins, different tokens with their representation on different like protocols. So you could have like Bitcoin and the representation of Bitcoin on Ethereum, on Cosmos, on the Binance blockchain, etc. And this is what we try. We try to basically provide one global, interoperable bridging solution between all of the major protocols. As of today, the major blockchain protocols are all supported, right? Speaking about ERC, so basically the Ethereum blockchain. Speaking about like BSC, the Binance Smart Chain platform, right? And many others. We've just like having a 10 protocol integration rolling out just like shortly as we speak, and that one will like extend to additional like blockchain protocols. Just Solana, just like to name one of them that we've like extended the interoperability to.
Very cool. And yeah, there's so many. I think this is really going to help with the blockchains that have been around for a long time, even before DEXs existed, and they have their own blockchain, so like they need to have that extra interoperability to go with each wallet, and doesn't necessarily have instant compatibility with Ethereum wallets. So having AtomicDEX to move to those blockchains easily is obviously going to help. I saw in the testing program that Komodo is partnering with Digibyte. I'm curious if you can spread some insight into Digibyte, how that fits into the testing program, and why you've partnered with them.
Okay, so first of all, Komodo and also like the AtomicDEX core vision has been around for quite some while. This dates back to around like 2013, 2014, during the NXT times, the early blockchain days, right? It was like just shortly before this like first ICO bubble occurred. And Digibyte was also, we call it like kind of like an OG coin, right? The cryptocurrency that's been around for quite some while, going back like 2013, 14, when they had like kind of like the community action going, and we still have like kind of like a connection, still like community-wise, some interaction going on. So our marketing team, as well as like our tech team, decided, okay, let's reach out to them. Let's involve third-party communities as part of an ongoing, or actually like almost completing beta stage. And that's what we did. We reached out to them, we hit them up, asked them if they'd be interested to run this usability campaign with us. It's basically an open testing session, right? And we invite third-party communities to support us, to give a shout out to their community members and inform them that, look, there's a decentralized cross-chain and cross-protocol DEX with a multi-coin wallet integrated, right? There's a set of additional features coming. Just a few, to name a few: Lightning Network support, hardware wallet support, right? This aforementioned web environment support. And Digibyte is natively supported already on the mobile as well as the desktop application. So it does have a native core support by the DEX, and that's why it was like an optimal candidate. But I'm sure this is gonna like extend to many other communities, to many other blockchain projects and communities, just like to get, our vision wasn't just like, let's connect like the tech, let's connect the different protocols. It's also about the communities. And I've said this, I think, during our last call. The core vision is bridging also the communities and using the technology, right, as an underlying like bridge builder, if you want to put it like that.
Yeah, I really like that, Kadan. Definitely communities first. It seems the projects that focus on that are really successful in the end. And that sort of leads me to the question about having open communities with some of the Ethereum DEXs, like Uniswap. It's hard for everyone to join in the community because the transaction fees are quite high for people that are just trying to enter into the space and they don't have a lot of capital. Can you give any insight into AtomicDEX and if there are high fees or extra fees to swap between blockchains, and if that prohibits or allows people that are just joining into the community to easily start using it?
Okay, so this is indeed like a very good question, and an existing and realistic like problem, something we're facing like every day. these exorbitantly high fees. I mean, with many cross-chain atomic swaps, the case is that, and the reality is that you would rely on the native like protocol that you're using for the swap. So if I exchange native ERC token with you for, let's say, like Litecoin or Bitcoin whatsoever, I'd have to pay probably a very high fee if we're talking about like ERC or Ethereum. At least recently that was the case, right? It might have like become a bit better. So we know there's still like these representations on different like protocols, right? You have like for pretty much like all ERCs as well as all native cryptocurrencies, you'll find the representation on the Binance Smart Chain platform, but many other third-party platforms, right? So you could still use such a wrapped asset for a cross-chain atomic swap and could actually like trade professionally, multiple times a minute, second if you wanted, and you wouldn't end up paying as much as you'd pay for the native transaction fee, right? But then on the other hand, we're also like implementing, additional like enhancements such as the Lightning Network support and other layer 2 solutions that are also, like designed as a solution like to these scalability problems and these like exorbitantly high transaction fees, which we also think are a high problem. They are definitely like a blocker for the average user and the everyday user specifically.
Definitely. Great points there. And there's so much to work on. You're talking about all these updates, different protocols you're going to integrate into. What do you think will be the key to bringing AtomicDEX closer to mainstream adoption? Is it more usability, bringing on a certain network? How do you get more people to start using AtomicDEX as you continue to grow it out and it gets into a more fuller platform? What is that key?
I think it's like a balance of the things you just mentioned. Yes, we do work on various like usability enhancements, but then there's also security enhancements that we're working on. I believe there are like a few key and core features that are like missing, at least for me and for us as a project, as a technology provider, to consider it ready like for this mainstream adoption, right? I mean, one of them is definitely like the hardware wallet support, right? Like ultimate, security. So even if your device was infiltrated, you couldn't face any damage. So that's like one big point. I think the day we have this implemented, and that's something we're actively working on right now, right? So we are well past beyond, the prototyping, proof of concept level. I mean, we're actively developing and integrating this feature. But then we do have also like a few, protocol enhancements, just like hardening and making it like more robust. There are a few items that we have on our like roadmap for the coming like quarters. I think like Q2, we do have like majority of the planned enhancements rollout, and that's also the time frame where we're actually like going to seek external secure code, reviewing and audit of the entire AtomicDEX. So people wouldn't have just like to not trust us and each other in regards to the technology and its like trustless and decentralized nature, but they would have to also not trust us for our explanations and our presentation of the AtomicDEX protocol. So I think this year, like 2022, is like a huge year for us because we're finally, like removing like the beta and the testing tags from the software and rolling it out in a way that would enable any third party to use this with many millions, with billions, right, of cryptocurrencies and data. And yes, I think these are like the few, outstanding like points we're gonna put like a check mark on, and from then on, it's really just like rolling it out. Reaching that stage also means that third parties, such as other wallet providers, software service providers, services, like that run in the cloud, are able to integrate and implement the AtomicDEX within their solutions. We have like a fully featured, trustless, permissionless API. So you could, if you have a wallet, you could or want to offer your users, of course, the trading capabilities, you could use the AtomicDEX for that. Trustless, you could even like add a margin on top so that you could actually like generate the monetization revenue out of it.
Very cool. Yeah, I think those partnerships and having existing communities, tag on through APIs to the technology, I think makes for more expansive growth. So I'm definitely gonna watch for that as it continues to grow out. And thank you so much as well for mentioning the hardware wallets. I think that's super important, especially for decentralized exchanges and many people using MetaMask without any hardware wallets, and clicking the wrong button and all of a sudden their funds are compromised in some way. So I think that's super important.
I agree. Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we haven't mentioned it during this call, but this, like, the custody that users give to centralized exchanges is like a huge risk. I think many users aren't aware of this, like, counterparty risk and what could happen with their funds, right? I mean, there's this, like, a famous or infamous quote, like, not your key, not your coins. And that's something we all have, like, to keep in mind. And that's like what we're targeting with the AtomicDEX, to really provide a piece of totally trustless, non-custodial wallet.
Very exciting, Kadan. And for all of those updates that you mentioned, for the viewers to follow along and to go right now to the testing of the AtomicDEX and potentially earn coins as well. I saw there were some rewards to be given out. What is the best way for people to learn more about the AtomicDEX and about Komodo?
Yeah, hit us up on Twitter, right? Give us a follow. We're Komodo platform on Twitter. I think that's the best place to really, like, get an ongoing stream of information, community updates, technological updates. And from there, you'll also easily find the way towards, like, our Discord server. Our community is, like, super active on Discord. So we use that instant messaging protocol and platform for the community communication. I'm CA333 on Twitter as well. So feel free to hit us up. Give us a shout out, and yeah, we'll be glad to discuss further and welcome in our community.
Great. Thank you, Kadan. I will leave all those links in the description box below as well. All the best with the AtomicDEX and everything on Komodo moving forward. And let's follow up again in the near future.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ashton. Thanks for having us. Thanks. Take care.